Here.
Wright?
Here.
Harvey?
Here.
Weinreich?
Here.
Mayor Robish?
Present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the agenda approval. Is there anything that I missed that should have been on there?
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Wright?
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Weinreich?
Aye.
Mayor Robish?
Aye. Moving on to public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address. Please come forward and state your name for the record. Do we have anyone in here in the crowd tonight for a public forum? Mr. Wild?
Yep. Chad Wild, 376 Broadland Creek Court. I'm here inquiring about the lot next to me. You'll see it on the agenda later today, but it's currently owned by the city, and I guess I'm asking why I'm not being allowed to buy it. I've put a full price offer in October of 2025 for the lot. For those that don't know, the city takes over Greater Huron's lots, so they don't have to pay property tax on them, which in itself is something, but let me start by reading from the covenants written by Greater Huron for the Broadland Creek Court lots. Lot owners may acquire adjacent lots for purposes of increasing the size of their lot. I'll read that one more time here. Lot owners may acquire adjacent lots for purposes of increasing the size of their lot. I've been trying to buy this lot for 1.5 years. I first tried to purchase it through the previous owner, at which time Greater Huron told me I could not buy it from them, but they would be buying it back from them and I could buy it directly from Greater Huron. I don't know if they acted in bad faith or if they just didn't realize what was in their covenants at that point in time. After reviewing the covenants, they should have never been able to tell me I couldn't buy it from the previous owner. I didn't raise the issue at that point in time because they said they were still going to buy it or sell it to me. I put a full price offer on it in October of 25. This is not a new thing for this area. 3 others out there have done the exact same thing. They don't have houses on them. They don't have anything on them. They're extra lots. This is not a new thing out there. One of those people sits on the Greater Huron board. Like I said, I put in a full price offer and they sent me a legal letter stating that I would not be allowed to buy that lot or any other lot from Greater Huron. I'm not asking for anything different or any special treatment. This has been done multiple times before. My question to the city is, why are you supporting this private corporation when they aren't following their own covenants? I've been trying to pay property tax on this property for the last 1.5 years, yet the city commission has moved the property into their name so that Greater Huron can avoid property taxes. Why would you support that? One reason clearly is that 2 of you sit on the board for GHDC, and one of you is actually the chair of Greater Huron board during many of these votes. I would like an explanation on the moral, ethical, and legal defense in allowing commissioners who clearly have a conflict of interest to vote on these. What is going to be done about all the previous votes that had these votes? I do understand it's been stepped down from the Greater Huron as chair at this point. After I brought this to your attention, I don't know if it had anything to do with it. If this private corporation isn't following its own covenants, I ask that the city commissioners recognize that and reevaluate their support of Greater Huron. I'm a citizen of Huron that has been trying to pay additional property taxes and am not being allowed to without explanation. The only answer I can get is that they would like to have a house on that lot. It's not what their covenants say. The property has been listed for almost 1 year now. I have to call and complain about the upkeep on it. I really, at this point, do not care what they would like to have. The covenants state plain as day that I can acquire an adjacent lot for the purpose of making my lot bigger. They're also going to say it's a prime lot and they need it. There are 20-some lots directly behind me in a TIF district that actually would benefit the city having houses on it more than the one next to me. There's also 2 additional lots in Broadland Creek Court the owner has had for over 3 years and done nothing with. Covenants say they need to build within 36 months. If you're okay with doing what they're doing, continuing as is, I would like to hear that from the commissioners, or if you have an issue with it, I'd like to hear it from the commissioners themselves, because I feel we've very much been cheated by Greater Huron out there.
Okay. As far as an explanation tonight, I know you felt like you've been slighted by me even, and I'm not gonna take that back, but we're not gonna take action on it tonight, but we've all heard it now. Instead of I've heard it, Rich has heard it, Rhonda's heard it, or whatever, so we've all heard it now, so I'm not saying we won't take action on it later, but we won't tonight, Chad,
Sure.
all right?
And just to end on that, I mean, I brought this to you 4 months ago,
Yep.
and I've been waiting on an answer, and then to now it's being transferred, and I haven't gotten an answer.
Yep.
So,
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else with a chief, public forum?
Derek Lear, Chief of Police for the City of Huron. Just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is our National Night Out taking place in Campbell Park from 5 to 8. Just want to invite everybody from the community down, have a lot of events planned. Captain Mark Johnson puts this together every year, does a phenomenal job, seems to get bigger every year we do it. So invite everybody down. We're going to have several food trucks that have food available for purchase, a lot of activities planned throughout the night, a lot of community events, or community organizations that'll be present. So just want to remind everybody, 5 to 8, Campbell Park.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I think Commissioner Wainwright says
Thank
something
you.
for us.
Yeah, Mayor, just wanted to notify the public that as of Wednesday evening, we will be closing the Third Street tree drop-off location to the public. You will now want to utilize the solid waste facility on the top of the hill. So just want to notify everybody on Wednesday evening that we will be closing the Third Street drop-off location. And we have made it through all of the alleys and twice through the community, and our street department is now back on regular schedule.
Okay. So with that, you can still bring your trees out to the solid waste.
Correct.
But only in their working hours, is that correct?
Yes.
Because they'll have to go back to the,
To the location.
Right.
okay. I guess I'm looking at him, and there should be asking
Jeez,
you.
yeah.
No, yes,
Okay,
If they're smaller, they could go to the drop-off kiosk.
if they're smaller, but they cannot be larger than
3
a,
inches.
right, there's restrictions on that. And you can always stick those smaller ones in your green container.
Mhm.
They'll be picked up every week.
Okay, well, we knew this was coming, so I guess we should be ready for it. I'm not, but we are. Okay, anyone else with public forum? Anyone else in the audience? Chad?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Chad Schroeder, City of Huron Parks and Recreation Director, and I just want to remind everybody that this week is state senior games, Thursday through Sunday. They'll be in town doing a bunch of events. We are still looking for volunteers. Brianna through the chamber is coordinating all that. Our primary need at this point right now is Saturday with our track and field events, and that's going to be held over in Wolsey. So if anybody has any interest in helping us out on Saturday, it would be greatly appreciated. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Tonight we have 4.1 minutes of July 27th, 2026, 4.2 fuel quotes for city departments, 4.3 personnel items. Number 1, approve the part-time employment of Frank Dahl as a volunteer firefighter effective August 10th, 2026 with a 6-month probationary period. Number 2, accept the voluntary resignation of volunteer firefighter Noah Apple effective July 21st, 2026. 4.4, consider changing date of consumption permits for the Dusting Off Dakota event from July 3rd to September 26th, submitted by the Community Improvement Committee, Scoreboard, the Vault, and the Sportsman's Bar. 4.5, payment of the bills.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Robish?
Aye. Moving on to petitions and communications. 6.1, consider the approval of art donation and resolution number 2026-08 for the downtown Huron, 460 Dakota Avenue South. I'm going to turn this over to Commissioner Bragg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as we previously discussed, we are very fortunate to have another generous patron that's wanting to donate an additional sculpture downtown. So the downtown committee has been working through that in the same fashion that the previous one that was donated by the Clute family. So this agreement is basically the same agreement that we had used for that one. The only slight tweak is because this one is coming directly from the artist and not out of the stores of the sculpture walk, there's a little difference in when the liability takes over. So in this one, the liability doesn't take over until the statue is here in place. And on the previous one, it was once we took possession from the sculpture walk. I was just told by Heather Burns, who's the chair of the downtown committee, that the artist is actually gonna be coming from Iowa to Huron himself to assist in that. We don't know all the details, if he's willing to do a public meeting or if he's gonna help specifically with the attachment, but the artist will be along when that piece is presented in Huron, so that'll be kind of a fun piece, and they're just waiting. The donor and that downtown committee is awaiting our approval tonight. Once they have that, they will dispatch the check, get that donation purchased, and it'll be in the works to get here. Again, we don't have the exact timeline, other than that they would like to have it done and installed and ready before the new dates for dusting off Dakota, but I don't have the specific dates of arrival beyond that. So that's what we're looking to approve, is the same, almost identical agreement to the previous one, just with that slight tweak on the timing of the liability, and then that piece will be on its way to join the other one in downtown Huron.
All right. Is that in the?
And I would make,
motion?
I would make that as a motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? For roll call vote, please.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Wainwright.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. 6.2, consider quitclaim deed and certificate of real estate value to transfer lot number 15, Broadland Creek Residential Subdivision, City of Huron, Beetle County, South Dakota, to Greater Huron Development Corporation, and authorize the mayor to sign. And we have with us tonight Mr. Ted Hayter, if you would like to enlighten us a little
Sure.
bit on that, but.
Yes, we have an interested buyer for this property and looking to transfer that from city ownership to Greater Huron so we can get it to the buyer. Hoping to close on that soon. I don't have an end date for the closing on that one. And we had another purchase agreement signed on property in Southtown that we couldn't get on the agenda for this meeting, so we'll be back likely in a week for another property transfer.
Okay. All right. We need a motion on that?
Move to approve the transfer.
Second.
Okay, any questions?
I-
Concern?
I guess, I was just, can you explain to the commission and Chad why the city holds this lot?
Okay, this predates me, and I don't know exactly when this practice started. So the Greater Huron Development Corporation and the City of Huron have worked together in partnership in the past, and again, I don't know exactly when this started, to hold our property for us. And the reason is the city provides financing to Greater Huron for operation of the organization. And part of that, going back to property taxes, would essentially be the city of Huron paying itself for its own property taxes. So whenever this agreement started, it was agreed that the city would hold the property through a quitclaim deed from Greater Huron when we acquired property until such time as it was going to sell. So we avoid the property tax that we pay on our residential lots, and we can do the same on our commercial property. And the city allocation goes then directly to support the operation of the organization rather than paying property taxes on that. So something that predates me, I don't know when it started, I know the why that happens, and it's something we could certainly revisit in the future if there's an issue with it. I don't know our exact, I couldn't give you a number today on what that property tax amount would be, but the lots that we hold are largely undeveloped lots.
I know it's been at least 17 years, because I've been here that long, and it's been before,
26.
okay,
Okay.
it's been before that, so. because I did look into that a little bit when there was some discussion brought up, and I could not find either where it was. But I understand the value of it, or the concept of it,
Sure.
whether it's an advantage or disadvantage to private municipalities or whatever, I don't know. It will be looked at in different ways,
Sure, well.
yeah.
And we have an exemption in state law that allows us to hold commercial or industrial ground. We just file a one-page exemption with the county every year that exempts those property taxes specifically. Again, that's commercial, industrial ground. I don't know if that reaches out and applies to residential property or not. I haven't looked into it, and again, just because of our relationship for such a long time with the city and the development corporation, haven't had cause to.
Okay.
Yeah, and similarly, after looking into this in the past, it's not an uncommon practice. You know, it's been done in Huron that way a long time. There are other entities that use that. Again, whether or not we want to reevaluate that just because we've done it that way for 30-something years doesn't mean it's right. We could look at, if we don't want to handle it that way, we could certainly look into the pros and cons. But as of right now, it's not something that's unique to the city of Huron. It is an established development process that is used elsewhere. Not exclusively, some don't use it, some do use it.
I think revisiting the residential part of that is something that we as a commission should look at. Most notably the residential part. I understand the industrial and commercial, but I think that's something I would like to have us revisit.
I would agree with that, and I think the common misconception is that the city owns this lot. Well, we hold the
Yeah.
title for this lot, but we have no ownership or control over this lot necessarily. So this is merely a formality on our end.
And in that same vein, we have no control over selling it or any of that. So I think it is something worth reevaluating.
Could be time.
Yeah.
Whatever. It could be time.
Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
It's
true.
like everything else we deal with.
That's true. I'll take one comment, Chad.
I mean, can I get an explanation of why it hasn't been told to me when the covenants say that we can? I mean, you're approving right now for them to sell it to somebody else.
We don't know who they're selling.
We are just approving it, going back to Greater Huron. Ultimately, the cards are 100% in their hands.
Nobody wants to know the answer to that question?
Well, I don't know if you can disclose that, I guess.
No, probably shouldn't yet. I mean, you're not supposed to, but.
I'm not asking who's buying it.
I
No,
could-
no, I know, we know that, but,
I'd say probably wouldn't be appropriate to disclose a buyer without their permission.
Yeah.
It ultimately becomes public record, but
yeah.
But I think he just wanted to know why.
That's a great question. Yeah, why wouldn't it be sold to me when the covenants say that I can buy it?
it
Oh,
wouldn't be
they're-
appropriate for me to.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
a meeting between,
They won't meet with me. That's why I came to the city commission. That's why you're supporting them.
Okay. Those are the things we're gonna discuss, so. All right, thank you. I guess we have a motion, any other comments, questions?
just to be clear, the motion is to remove this from city ownership back to Greater Huron.
Correct.
Well, it's a transfer the title.
Just, yes,
Right.
the transfer title, yeah.
Right, sorry.
Yep, that is correct. Roll call vote.
Clute,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Okay, moving on to 6.3. Semi-annual update from People's Transit, and tonight we have with us Gail Clute. She's gonna have all kinds of information.
Oh, I only have 5 minutes according to
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Clute, so.
Okay.
I'm Gail Clute, I'm the Executive Director of People's Transit, here for my semi-annual report to the Commission. I guess two exciting things that are happening at Transit right now is we are expecting 2 more propane buses. We currently, of our cutaway fleet of 12, half of them are propane buses. We have 2 more coming, within the next couple months. That's exciting because
People's Transit is honestly leading the way in transit in South Dakota as far as the number of propane buses that we are acquiring and using. You know, for many reasons, yes, they cost a little bit more to have them fitted with the propane system. However, we are saving money by the fuel aspect of it, and also, you know, just the environmental piece of that. We, you know, $7,500 or 7,500 mile oil changes, our technicians are finding there's absolutely no change in the oil. Maybe a little in the viscosity, but as far as the color and everything, it's still perfect. So, you know, we're really keeping our fingers crossed, and through the research and everything, the buses are lasting longer, a propane bus. And so that's an exciting piece for us. So we're gonna have 8 of our 12 buses be part of the propane fleet in South Dakota. So it's super exciting about that. One thing that we did wrestle with a long time and discussed was upping our fares, just our local fares to and from in town. Since I've been at transit since 2017, there's been nothing changed as far as our transit fares in town. So $2.50 one way for youth and seniors has been there since at least 2017. Beginning October 1st, we are going up to $3 one way for youth and seniors, and from $3.50 to $4 one way for the general public. It's not something we wanted to do, it's something we had to do because of federal funding getting cut, and I know I've, you know, been and presented that information to you before, but what I did present to you guys is our request to DOT this year as far as our budget. It's honestly only a little bit bigger than last year's budget, and so what we are asking for is way at the bottom you can see a total requested 5311 funds. That's the federal piece that we get from the federal government. That's not what we're gonna get. That's what we haven't gotten for the last 2 years. And last year it cost us over $220,000 out of our reserves just to make it to the end of the fiscal year, meaning we didn't have any matching funds. We had to pull that out of our funding to make it. We're at that point right now, and August, September, part of July is also going to be out of pocket because we ran out of federal funding. Because we don't have that pool of money sitting out at Pier anymore to hand them, you know, show you our local match so we can get it back. And so we're looking at probably close to $300,000 this year out of our reserves just to make it to the end of the fiscal year. So basically DOT has said, welcome to your new norm. And so they've tasked us with having to, you know, do more fundraising, be creative in whatever. One of the creative things, I guess, you know, and other transit agencies in the state have done it as well, was up their local fares. And in the conversations I've had with other transit directors, it has not yet had an impact on their ridership. You know, you're looking at a 10-year point here where we haven't raised our fares, and everybody knows everything's going up. Quite honestly, that's only going to maybe get us $30,000. You know, to help us out, but it's something for sure. But anyway, that's where we're at, you know, as far as that piece of it. You know, we have our buses that we advertise on. If anybody wants to advertise on them, get a hold of me. You know, but you know, transit is doing everything fiscally responsible, everything we possibly can to cut expenses, to not spend foolishly, to make sure that everything is running, you know, as seamless as possible on as little as possible. And so that's where we're at. I just want you guys to know that we are, you know, any nonprofit, any agency that's getting federal funding is hurting. You know, you guys know that. And so I just want to share our plight, but at the same time, we do have good things happening at transit as well. You know, our ridership is up. You know, we're probably running 70,000 rides a year, if not more. We were fortunate to get the Head Start contract last year, which really upped our ridership. So we're excited to tap into that again this year. You know, it's a federal agency helping another federal funded agency. You know, it's just kind of the way it works. But that's transit in a nutshell. You know, of course, we will welcome any support we can get from the city, and just know that your dollars are going to be used wisely. Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I just want to comment on how much you do with the community, doing the monthly food giveaway. That operation has just been phenomenal, and seeing the cars lined up, and you make it so efficient for those receiving those meals to just drive through. And I know you deliver Meals on Wheels at times. You do a lot to help other organizations in the community. So, thank you.
Okay.
I had a quick question about, so you mentioned that there was not a pool of money in Pier. So is it, just so I understand, is it that the federal funds themselves are cut, or is it that the state does not have enough to do the local match, and so then there's not as much coming from the federal? Like, where is the cut actually?
Okay, probably on the federal level to begin with. The way this works is, you know, we submit our budget to the state, and then they pool all of it together and go, okay, you know, we'll apply for X amount. You know, every year now, we are getting less and less from the federal government. How the state puts it out there to the federal government, I don't know that end of it. I do know that the transit agencies are working to hopefully get some data put together so we can approach the legislature on a stronger level and give them some data, because quite honestly, my opinion and other transit agencies, we don't get enough state assistance either.
That was gonna be my question, if
Yeah.
you felt we needed to
Yeah.
try to leverage the legislature, if that was the impediment, or?
Well, you know, out of our budget, we get 79,000 out of $1 million budget. You know, and that's our piece. But we're hoping for more eventually.
And you're hosting the state transit meeting this year.
We're
in
hosting the
September.
Dakota Transit Association, which is the North and South Dakota Transit Agencies, in September, yes.
I'm sure there'll be lively discussion at that meeting.
Oh, yeah. Anybody else?
So then the dollars that we apply, do those go under the column of local matching then too, so those get matched?
Yes, that's very specific with your funding, county funding, United Way funding. You know, we earmark that specifically for match. So, you know, it's utilized in that respect to get those federal dollars back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Neil. All right, next we have another semi-annual update from the Huron Housing, and we have Amy Fullerton with us here tonight from Huron Housing.
Good evening. I wish I had her voice. Amy Fullerton, Huron Housing Authority Director. So we currently have 4 properties: Manor, Doneywall, Bluebird, and Field Estates. Field Estates and Doneywall are fair market rent properties. Doneywall and Manor are also supportive housing properties. In order to live there, you must be receiving case management services through community counseling or the Center for Independence. Primarily, the individuals that live there receive a housing choice voucher, which is subsidized according to their income. And then we also have Bluebird Apartments, which is an 8-unit rural development complex where the rent is based on their income. We are currently running the Security Deposit Grant Program. It's a grant that's applied for each year from South Dakota Housing to pay for security deposits for those that income qualify and meet 7 different criteria based on seven different options. We'll inspect the unit and then pay the deposit directly to the landlord. Currently, we have paid 14 security deposits for a total of $10,233, and we have a total of $25,000 to use before the end of the year. throughout the years, it just kind of fluctuates. Sometimes we get more because other agencies aren't utilizing their full funding, and that was the case last year. This year, I anticipate using it all as well. We operate the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Currently, we have 232 individuals on our waiting list. Those just waiting for assistance.
Just, just in Huron?
Just in Huron. Well, or that want to move to Huron if they're not already here. We have not called in or offered new assistance to any individuals since November of 2024. What that means is we are using the budget that we are allocated by HUD in its entirety, and that's kind of scary. This year, when our annual contributions contract was announced, it was made very clear that there is to be no overspending, because if you overspend, we are not going to bail you out. In previous years, you would spend more than they would give you, and then you'd apply for additional funding. That additional funding, they made very clear, is not going to happen this year. So we've been very tight with our budget and using it very wisely. One thing that is unfortunate is part of the program, you have the option for portability, which is you can transfer your assistance to a different house, apartment, or even a different city or state. What we're finding is those that want to transfer their assistance, they're moving to a higher cost area, where our average housing assistance payment per family to the landlord is about $350. If we send someone to Florida, for example, it could be $2,000 a month. So that makes a really big impact. So we're currently not issuing portability vouchers. As far as the composition of our program, 0 to 1 bedrooms make up about 78% of those that we serve. 2 bedrooms, 11%, 3 bedrooms, 9%, and 4 bedrooms are about 2%. The next would be our housing rehab report. In November, we were fortunate to hire a new housing rehab specialist who administers the program for those that have lived in their home for at least a year and income qualify. We can utilize the grant to help make improvements to their home up to $30,000. We can go higher with board approval. Currently, we have 23 active applicants, and based on the numbers and the initial work, we're looking at spending about $196,000 this year in our community to rehab those homes. It's a variety of things, new siding, new windows, hand railing, smoke detectors. It encompasses a lot of things. We just learned the other day that if you're within a certain amount of feet of the railroad tracks, you have to have special windows to eliminate the noise. So that was something new for us. I guess I'd like to discuss the vacancy rates a little bit. We've had a little bit of movement at Field Estates. We've got 3 vacancies at Doneywall and 0 at the Manor and 0 at Bluebird. Our vacancy rates stay pretty consistent. Any questions for me?
Those Field Estates, do you still have waiting list on that too?
Yes, we have a very long waiting list.
So your 3 vacancies won't last?
No,
Okay.
no. Harold is hard at work rehabbing
Yes.
them already and getting them ready for the next tenant.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
So glad to hear you got somebody hired, because I know for a little while we didn't have that rehab position filled, so
Yes.
that's excellent. So you said by the end of the year you'll be at 196, you think, spent?
If we're able to complete all projects by the November 30th deadline, that would be $196,000. We can get an extension on that. We're hoping not to have to. Recently, we run into a little delay with contractors because of the storm. But
So with having somebody in that role now and a little more experience, do you feel next year that 200,000 is a good benchmark? Do you think you'll go up from that? Was this an exceptionally good year? I mean, I know that's really hard to know because it's all based on the applications, but just in terms of what you reasonably can process and what's out there, what do you expect that will be next year?
Well, last year I was gung-ho and applied for all the funding that was available from South Dakota Housing for that, and they awarded it to us. We have a very good relationship with them, and I will apply for the same amount next year. I don't see any less people applying next year compared to this year.
So do you think you could do more than the 200,000 next year?
If there was additional funding.
So
Yeah.
that's
Their
it.
max to us is 210,000 for each program.
Great, thank you. That's
Yep.
great to get that one rolling again.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a huge amount of money that's going back into these homes, so that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
All right. All right, next we have one more semi-annual update from Beetle County Humane Society, and we have Kim Kruger with us here tonight. And she
Good
handed
evening,
out a
Mayor and
pamphlet.
Commissioners. I'm Kim Kruger, Executive Director from the Beetle County Humane Society. Here to tell you a little bit about what's happened in 2025. So total calls for the year was 1,006. So animal control was dispatched out 1,006 times. The first half, we had 420, and the second half was 586, which that's pretty normal because in those later months is when we start getting, the cold weather, the changes, those kinds of things. To break down the calls, running at large, of course, is always our top one. That is up from last year. Neglect calls 74, up from last year. DOA or deceased on arrival, 36, which is down, so that's a plus. Biters stayed dead even. So for all the years that I've been begging to please get this number down, they didn't. I mean, they met me right there. So we're still working on that. Trapping, 234, we're up on that. We're still diligently working to try to get the stray cat population under control in the city of Huron. Working with the public to get that done. Nuisance and wildlife, we had 68, which is down from last year. And the remainder of the calls to meet that 1,006 are because we record everything. So when we deliver an animal to the vet, we run to Runnings to get food and litter, Lewis to get food and litter, City Hall to pick up paperwork. We record every call we go on, whether it's animal related or business related when it comes to, so we can keep track of those expenses with the animal control vehicle, etc. Animals served in 2025 is 816. Still sounds like a high number, but when I first started 31 years ago, we were taking in 11, almost 1,200 animals. This is gonna take time, it's coming down, that's good news. So, we still need to bring it down, and it's up from last year, from 721. But I'm kinda seeing things this year level off a little bit. And again, I think I said at the last commission meeting, I think social media is helping. If there's an animal out running at large, people are posting it. We've made our presence more known, that, hey, take heed, because if your dog is impounded, it's gonna cost you to get it back out, So just heed the reminders, let's get them tagged, licenses, if write your phone number on the back of their collar, whatever you can do. But I think that has a lot to do with it, and I'm hoping that we're gonna see that number maybe even less than 721. I'm just gonna throw that out there, put it out in the universe. Currently we have 8 dogs, 61 cats, 2 guinea pigs, and 4 chimney swifts. Yes, and they're very little, and they're very loud, but they're wonderful.
You want to know as well, what is a chimney swift?
The chimney swifts is they will nest in people's chimneys. And people will hear them nest and they don't want them in their chimneys. So the citizen removed them and brought them. There were 5. One didn't make it, unfortunately. But, you know, we learn about some of these as they come in. And even today, Denise came to me and she said, I think something's wrong because I think they're blind. And so she's like, can I take them to the vet? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. We're talking chimney swifts here, so, you know, I don't want to, let's not garner a huge vet bill quite yet. Let's just talk about it and do some research. Well, come to find out, they are born blind, and they don't start to see for about 18 or so days. We feed them soggy kitten chow.
Is it a bird or a
Yeah.
squirrel or what?
Bird,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you release them back?
Yeah, once they're flighted, we'll release them back
Once
into
they
the
can
wild.
see where they're flying.
I hope not in my neighborhood.
The interesting thing I'm told about chimney swifts too is they very rarely will perch. A chimney swift is usually on the move like all day. So they're sturdy little jumpers. We'll see.
Cleaning the chimneys.
Their voices are very
They're
vocal.
cleaning the chimneys.
Yeah, well, they're cleaning my
Well,
ears too.
or making them dirtier.
So,
Anyway.
I knew Ron would get a kick out of that. Okay, so dispositions in terms of how the animals left the shelter for 2025. We adopted or rehomed 82 dogs, 280 cats, 2 rabbits. Returned to owner 135 dogs, 23 cats, 3 rabbits, 1 turtle, 1 parrot. We wildlife and or farmed and released 3 chickens, 5 bats, 1 pelican, 2 geese, 1 screech owl, 1 pheasant, 2 squirrels, and 3 cocktails. The deceased were a dog, 84 cats, a chicken, turkey, vulture, 32 possums, a skunk, a sparrow, 3 raccoon, 16 cottontail, 3 pigeon, 2 squirrel, 1 robin, 1 mourning dove. And the big number that everybody likes to not hear or they want to know what it is the euthanasia number. I'm not afraid to share our euthanasia numbers. I think it should be public knowledge. I think the city and the citizens of the city should know what's going on and why. We euthanized 8 dogs and 25 cats in 2025. And I don't know if I talked about last year, you know, there's people will ask shelters all the time, are you a kill shelter or are you not no-kill shelter? In my opinion, there's really no such thing as a no-kill shelter because a no-kill shelter does not euthanize animals. The qualification is to euthanize less than 10%. We were at around 3%. So the reasons that we euthanized the animals we did in 2025, we had 11, these are the cats, 11, they were ill and the vet recommended it, said they're suffering, they should be put down. 8 were hit by a car, severe injuries, and or on their way out, so they were euthanized. Another one, severe injuries. We had 1 biter that we could transfer or rescue, put it in another rescue or anything. 2 cancer, 1 neurological disorder, and we had 1 poor little mama cat that died giving birth at the shelter. Dogs, we had 3 biters, 2 ill and the vet recommended, 1 aggressive, 1 hit by a car, and 1 that had really severe seizure disorder that, and unless you could find a foster or some kind of rescue that takes on those medically needy animals, it was cruel to watch and to let the dog suffer, so that's what we opted for. Licenses to date, we have sold 783. Every year I order 1,000 tags thinking, I'm gonna order 2,000 this year. I swear to God, I'm gonna do it. So someday, I'm ordering 2,000 licenses, I'm gonna sell them. Other information that's going on at the shelter, we had a couple of nice memorials come in that helped us in some much needed repairs that the shelter needed. Our dog park, we now have, we tried to plant trees out there so citizens had shade. We now have a shelter, so you can sit under the shade. when you take your dog out to use the dog park, and again, that is open to the public. Anybody can use it any time of day. We have a water source out there now too, so you can get water. And then the other thing we got done this last season was a play yard for our dogs, so that they are not sitting in kennels all day anymore. They have a sandbox that they play in. They have a big stock tank that for our pool that they use. They've got ramps, they've got balls, they've got it all. That's wonderful to see. So when people come out, you know, so any of them that get along, they're outside playing during the day. They're not stuck in their kennels, and it's just such a different, you learn more about them. They're better behaved when they meet people. So that's just been a win, that one. We are in the process of extending the catio, because the one catio that we have, with all the cats we have, there can be arguments because one wants to sit there and the other one wants to sit there, and anyway, so that's gonna change things too. We fixed our breezeways. We are now ADA compliant, which we love, because we love, for like people from Center for Independence, or we want people to come out and visit the animals. It's good for the animals and it's good for the people. So we have gotten that done, which was much needed. A board member built what's called our Rainbow Bridge. If you drive out by there, you'll see this out by the dog park, rainbow colored bridge, and that is for the public. If they lose an animal, they can come out and attach, put their dog's collar on there, hang their tag off the fence if they want. It's just a way to honor animals that have passed. So special place for that. To reflect, we replaced the roof, which was, thank goodness we had gotten somebody up there, because I don't think we would have been, it would have been probably on top of me, not too long. So that's all fixed, the roof is good. We removed some trees, we still have one more tree to remove. We didn't get a whole lot of damage, thankfully, from the storm, just a few branches and stuff, so we were thankful for that. So yeah, some much needed updates were done with some of that memorial money. We did have to buy a new animal control vehicle. Our other one said, I'm done with you people. So we've got that up and running. Upcoming fundraisers, pool party this Saturday, August 8th. If you have not been to this, whether you have a dog or not, it's so much fun to watch. So people don't have to come in. If you just want to come watch, because it's a hoot. It's an hour, it's from 6 to 7 at Splash Central. Super duper time. And then coming up in September, we have our vendor fair. We'll have vendors, we'll have bouncy house, the balloon guy, hopefully some things for kids to do, the human slots, which is a hoot too. We're still working out the finalities of that one, but again, if there's any vendors out there, and they want to get on the list, they can get a hold of me at the shelter, email me, Facebook message me. And I know fair's a little bit away, but I won't see you and have this platform, so I just want to remind people, your pets are not allowed in the fairgrounds. Please do not leave them in the car. Leave them at home. They'll be fine. Much better off. So we want to, I have posters made to put at all the gates. So we just want to remind people that when fair comes, they're not allowed on the fairgrounds. They aren't going to let you in with them, so leave them home. Lastly, I have a couple job openings, part-time kennel keeper and nighttime animal control position. I hired somebody last week, they made it 3 hours, and they were done. I interviewed today, so I'm hoping this one will go a little better. But what we did have to do, because of the fact that we are short-staffed, not only that, but we're just burning candle at both ends. Employees working 24/7, 365. So what I had to do, it's been a few years, we kind of said, put the contract aside and just went on any and every animal control call. Didn't matter, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, didn't matter. We went back to our contract. So Monday through Saturday after 8 PM, it's an emergency only. Sundays are emergency only. I have met with Lair and the chief of police and also Aaron, one of the city attorneys. We're trying to get things together where there's an end here, because the problem lies with the city attorney. The officers have to have probable cause to give citations. And so, for example, the licensing and the rabies vaccination, that's done at a municipal level at the city ordinance, and the officers don't have them records, so that doesn't give them any probable cause to be writing those summons. They are, however, we are calling them in now for running at large, and if the officers witness the animals running at large, they are writing tickets, and people are going to court. So we're working on this to see what we're doing, but this is where we're at right now. It's not, because we're still gonna provide you with quality service and the people out there, we wanna know what's going on, you know, but we just can't do it 24/7, 365. So if it's an emergency, or if you find a dog running at large and it's not if it's running in and out of traffic, absolutely call us. But if it's just running in the park, let's see if it'll go home first. So that's it in a nutshell for me. If anybody has any questions?
Very interesting. Thanks for responding to my call today.
Well, you're absolutely welcome. I thought about bringing the chimney sweat, having Denise bring those chimney sweats.
We don't need
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kim. Never a dull moment out there. All right, moving on to departmental items. 8.1, consider Huron Police Department request to apply for $46,000 in grant funding through the South Dakota 911 Coordination Board to upgrade all current digital radios and add 2 digital radios for the Huron Police Department Dispatch Center, and authorize Captain Jason Bechtold to sign. And we'll get a little more information here from the chief.
All right, thanks, Mayor and Commissioners. What we're seeking is approval to apply for $46,131.51 in grant funding from the South Dakota 911 Coordination Board to upgrade our radios that are used by our Huron PSAP, our dispatch center. So what those radios would be, not only for our own facility, but also update the radios for the Huron EMS channel, the Huron Fire channel, State Radio Communications, Gerald County, Beetle County, Han County, and Kingsbury County. So it'll actually be, I believe it was 9 radios in all, that the state has a cache of these radios. So if we were to receive the funding, it'd be 100% covered by the state and no match for the city.
Motion to approve.
Second. Everybody seconds that.
So on these radios, Derek, we were talking a little bit this morning. What would you do with the old ones, or, I mean?
So the radios, these would be replacing the radios in our radio room upstairs that basically are the radios that our dispatch center operates through. A lot of the radios that we currently have that are used for this are owned by those individual counties. So like Han County provides their radio, Gerald County provides theirs. So all this will do is provide us one radio for our dispatch center. It updates the technology. At some point, we're hoping to get our dispatch center to where we can manually control the radios from the dispatch center to control what channel the radios for these individual counties are on. Right now, if they have an issue in dispatch, we have to find an officer, send them upstairs to the radio room, and try to figure out whose radio is whose and get everything all adjusted. So really, this doesn't change anything with the way our radios and our cars or anything operate. This is solely just for our dispatch center.
So if approved, there's no cost to the city. If not approved, are you looking that we still fund it, or if not approved, then we wouldn't do it?
No, with us having a PSAP or a public safety answering point, they're really focusing on consolidating PSAPs in the state. I think we just lost, 2 last year? So they're trying to consolidate, so we're one of the PSAPs that's performing very well for the state, and we cover a lot of smaller counties that wouldn't really have easy access to that if we weren't to take them on. So I would assume we'll get funding for it. If for some reason we didn't, we just have to hold off. Again, Not that it's urgent that we do it now, but if it's available and the state's willing to
Right.
pay for it, we'd like to do it.
Correct. All right, anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Weinrich.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Chief. Moving on to 8.2, consider appointment of appointive officers. And these are our department heads. I'm not gonna list them all. I guess you all know who you are, but we have a building inspector, finance director, deputy finance director, fire chief, volunteer, deputy chief, golf superintendent, Huron Community Campus executive director, Huron Event Center manager, Huron Resource Director, Information Technology Director, Library Director, Parks and Recreation Director, Planning Director, Police Chief, Deputy Police Chief, Solid Waste Superintendent, Street Superintendent, and Water Sewer Superintendent. So those are pretty much our department heads, and each year we reappoint them.
I'll make that
At
motion
least
to
they will be.
reappoint.
Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Weinrich.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 8.3, consider city-appointed board and committee members and new term expirations. And the reason we're doing this now is because of the new laws that went into effect. And so the boards and all our committees, most, if not all, are volunteers. And I guess without those volunteers, there's a lot of things that wouldn't get run very efficiently. And so I'm looking at the names on here, and yeah, some have been there a long time, some are just new coming on, they're kind of new to the community or whatever, but this is how the city keeps rolling, is with our volunteers. And because we're paid, these last people that we just talked about are all paid. Most of these people are not, but they keep everything in line and running efficiently and smoothly. So that's, I guess, I'm just gonna say a thank you. So you all have a list of those, so I would entertain a motion for that.
Motion to approve. Second.
I'm sorry, I should have waited till we had that motion in second, but sorry there, Cody, but I was out of line. Roll call vote, please.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Weinrich.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. All right, we're going to move into a work session. We have a couple of things for the work session. First thing we're gonna do is talk about, and I did not bring my